Hello there, and once again, we're continuing our series on emotional intelligence. And today we'll be talking about why emotional intelligence is so important in leadership. That's what we'll be delving into next. So in this video, we're going to be kind of delving into things that leaders have that are related to emotional intelligence. So things like vision and trust and leaving a legacy and adaptability. These type of things is what we'll be delving into that great leaders have and are associated with emotional intelligence. So stay tuned while we jump into that. The foundation of leadership is trust. When you trust people, trust organizations, trust systems, it is essential for a functioning society. Imagine a world where you didn't trust people or systems or organizations. So leaders foster that trust. Leaders who have high emotional intelligence are much more likely to foster that. They have that ability to connect with people, to manage their own emotions, to take control of situations, to adapt, to put people first. One famous case was 1982, and I remember it well. There's a nationwide for sure, scare as some nutcase was tampering with Tylenol bottles, putting cyanide in there, and a bunch of people died. When this became news, Johnson & Johnson's CEO, Burke, ordered recall of 31 million Tylenol bottles, cost $100 million. But for him, there was no decision but that, because he was emotionally intelligent and wanted to play trust and show that and all the evidence seems to be pointed to an isolated situation in Chicago. But he reacted like, who knows, there might be people working together, what have you. I'm going to do this nationwide. That really exemplified his emotional intelligence and why people trusted him. People with emotional intelligence, the leaders with emotional intelligence, really kind of become leaders because of their ability to connect with people, to stand strong, to control their emotions, to self-regulate, be self-aware. All of these character traits we've talked about in other videos, when people have those, they carry more influence. People are more likely to listen. It's not about the title or the power position. A great example of this was a 15-year-old who was tried to be killed by the Taliban because she was speaking for women's rights, the rights of young women, in their ability to learn, to be educated. The Taliban was cracking down on all that. And that attempt on her life didn't silence her. She ended up speaking in front of the United Nations, advocating for, condemning the Taliban. And she became, at age 17, the youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize winner. She carried a great deal of influence, not because of any title she had, but because of her emotional intelligence and her congruency and her self-awareness and all the things that go into having high degrees of emotional intelligence, and courage being able to be one of those. Again, managing your own emotions, and courage is certainly being able to manage your fear. So she was a great example of a leader's ability to influence beyond titles. One of the things that makes great leaders is their ability to adapt. And that's actually one of the traits of emotional intelligence, their adaptability, their resilience. And a great example of this is Starbucks. And in 2008, Starbucks they were reeling. They had been losing money, customer service had been on decline. It was not in a good place. It was not where Starbucks had been. So the former CEO who had left came back, Schultz, and And one of the things that he really immediately implemented was a change in thinking across the country. Made some hard decisions. They closed all the stores for one night to kind of reset things and refocus on customer service. And let's begin to look at our product line and get rid of some of the underperforming products. His ability to adapt, to be able to look at where they were and go, all right, listen, we are about the customer. That's that emotional intelligence aspect. We need to deal with where we are at and how we lost our way. The humility of owning it, like this company is not where it was a few years ago. Let's shift things. All those things which great leaders have the ability to do are related to the leader's ability to be emotionally intelligent. One trait that great leaders really have is the ability to present their vision for whatever it is, right? Their public policy vision, if you're like a national leader, state leader, what have you, their vision for a organization, be it a nonprofit or a business, and paint that vision, present that vision to others, and get them to follow you. And so much of that is emotion related. It's your own passion, your own belief, your own conviction, your ability to use your communication and connect with people on a personal level to show them what you are seeing, what can be, the possibilities of things. That ability is highly related to your emotional intelligence, to those factors that go into that. One of the great examples of all time of that would be Gandhi and Martin Luther King, who both did very similar things. Martin Luther King, when he gave the I Have a Dream speech on the Mall, Washington, D.C., where he really took the movement that he had started back in the 50s for civil rights and launched that on a major national platform. And he was able to portray that vision, one of the great speeches ever presented, right? I have a dream. Painting that vision, his ability to use his words and his personal power, his resilience, and all those things that go into emotional intelligence to share that vision with others, encapsulated generations. One of the other aspects that shows great leadership is leaving a legacy. So you start an organization, you start a movement, you start something that then carries on. Even family legacies can be talked about in terms of the leader or the patriarch of a family, right? It carries on the vision, the message, the whatever it is that you are kind of promoting lasts beyond you. It keeps going. That's kind of what we're talking about with a legacy that great leaders have. They lead that. They leave that culture. Herb Kelleher, who was the leader of Southwest Airlines, that turned Southwest Airlines into one of the most profitable airlines in history. When people talk about him who worked for Southwest Airlines under his reign, it wasn't about the financial success of the corporation, but it was about his emotional intelligence. And they don't necessarily use that word, but his ability to connect with people, lead people. They talk about the fact that he would know their name and send birthday messages and encourage people to have humor. And I've been on Southwest Airlines flights where some of the stewardesses or flight attendants use humor while they're talking about things, and it connects me as a customer to that airline. That kind of legacy is passed on through his leadership, in large part because of the emotional intelligence that he had, which was then able to help bring that through the corporation from top down. So with the ending of this video, I would encourage you to actually consider registering for one of our webinars. The one that's probably most associated to this particular topic would be emotional hygiene. So you could register for that, but check out any of those. The link to our list of webinars is in the description. And as always, I encourage you to subscribe to help us get the message out. and then come back and check out one of our other videos.